to Sunday Shenanigans. Hold on. What's that word?
Oh, shenanigans.
Welcome to Sunday Shenanigans. Here's your host, Shyzabox.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Whoa, girl! Whoa! Oh, girl! Whoa! Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on! Excellent. Apprentice, fantastic. I see you have finished your work. That's good because, believe you me, if you hadn't, you would still be working. Now get out of here, apprentice. Done with you. It's our show. Oh, jeez. Good help is hard to find. You know this. We know this, obviously. Anyhow, welcome to Sunday Shenanigans. And by welcome, it's free. So, you know, you might be saying, Sunday Shenanigans. That sounds like a very generic blanketed term. And, you know, if we're being honest, it kind of is. You might be saying, well, that's a cop-out. You can't do a whole episode on, you know, just shenanigans in general. But that's where you're wrong. See? We can do a show on whatever we want. There's a thing called being a celebrity, which we are. Not a good one, okay? Admittedly. Obviously. We know our place. Bottom of the barrel. Okay? That's why we call Daryl Dixon dibs. Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. Of course you're familiar with him. Or you're not. He said we could call dibs, and we do. So we call dibs on the ground floor level. The best worst celebrity there is. Okay? We know our place. Everything else you watch is guaranteed to be better. And believe you me, it's a symbiotic relationship that we have with that being the case. Okay? You get everything else to be good content. We get all the accolades of a celebrity. Not a good one, okay? We're looking for fractions of cents at a time here from ad revenue, right? You know, we know you don't want to give us your money, okay? And a lot of people don't want to either. So what we're going to do is tell the algorithm that YouTube wants to give us fractions of cents at a time, right? Symbiotic relationship. You put this on, you mute it, you go to work. You put this on, you mute it, you go to sleep. Whatever. Be sure it's in the other room. You don't want any crossover or, you know, blue light coming in through your eyelids and like, whoops, I accidentally watched some of the show. Okay? We don't need the subscription. We just want the view, right? And we understand that inherently it might not be worth giving the view, but you can be doing other stuff while it's playing. I mean, shit. You ever hear of another tab, right? You can't tell us you can't throw this up on another tab, mute it in the background, let us get the view. We'll trick YouTube. You catch a glimpse of it and you're like, ah, shit, not that show, right? And you're like, oh, well, everything else I watch today is guaranteed to be better. It makes your life better. That is the role we fill. We know our place. Anyhow, let's check in with what we are missing. Did you really think I wouldn't be back? Well, Rick, you know, the thing is, we knew you'd be back. We just knew that how we've been doing our scheduling is very, let's say, unscheduled, right? So, whereas everyone who's not an internet celebrity, okay, and that's everyone here that's not us, unless you're one of the internet celebrities that's here, and which, holy shit, are you streaming right now? Are we on your stream? Yeah, we promise we'll get good. Okay, we don't. Sounds like we'd have to put work into that, right? But Rick, we knew you were here, and you know why? Because the door's still fucking broken. You haven't fixed that shit, and everyone keeps walking through it like it's revolving. Now, granted, Rick, it is a revolving door in the lobby, but with it being broken, 3 people have gotten stuck in there last week since you stopped showing up to the stream, and 1 person almost got stuck. That's 4 fucking people, Rick. Now, we're not saying it's your fault and that we were paying you to fix the door, but, you know, Rick, it's called volunteering. It's a benefit to the community as a public service. In which case, you're providing the service for the public, in which case the public's like, don't fix the door, Rick, bolt that shit shut so none of us ever misclick on this again. And you'd have a lot of fans, Rick. We're not lying. But that's beside the point. Point is, though, of course we knew you'd be back, Rick. You left your shoes here. We sold them. I'm sorry. But, Rick, your name's still in Danny's Cake. If you don't believe us, it still is. Now, we put up a rainbow, Rick. It's all rainbows, so it's a little hard to get to, but we knew you'd be back, Rick. Your name's still up here. It's still on the wall. Okay? Because you haven't painted over that yet, Rick. You know, you've been slacking. Door's still broken. People showing up, expecting us to entertain. I don't think they expect that. Fair enough. Good. But yes, Rick, we knew you'd be back. Of course! It's not Rick here without Rick here. And Josh! Josh is back, too! Josh, that must have been an accident. You know, when you gave us control of Zeporion, right? All of the Zeporian people were like, you know, Josh, we probably shouldn't have done that. But, you know, that's what happens. Excellent. Nothing is better than this. Well, what are you doing, Josh? That's so much better. Because, believe you me, please add it to the chat box so we can all go do that instead. Only thing we pick up from Earth. Well, that's because Zeporion is honed in, Josh, and we've told you this. It's why we ended up having you give us the reins to the leadership of your planet. Okay? Thing about it is, Josh, we can call you Josh, right? Okay, so, J-Money. Zeporia, you know, is definitely one of the best accolades, being, you know, in essence, ruler of it, or president, leader, you know, however you want to go about, you know, worshiping us, right? The thing is that it's hard to do both jobs when we're so busy being a bad celebrity here. You know, it's like, which one do you really want to focus on? And we know our place. We want everyone's days to be better, hence, check in here, and they usually are. It's like, okay, let's see what decisions not to make in my life. Excellent, okay. See, and it sets you on that pace, right? But that's beside the point. Let's see what else we're missing. But yes, Josh, we see you're there. And of course, Rick, and yes, even Flappy Fish is here. Who is this dude? He's a legend. Well, I don't know. Who are you meeting right now? But, Flappy, if you could get them to start a stream so we could all stop this one and go over there and watch his, it'd probably be way better. We'd all like to meet him. So, believe you me. Hold on. Management's calling the booth. They like to interrupt the show and act like they know how to run the place. What do you want? We're on time. We're doing the show. Started pretty much right at 10, I think. Okay, well, 10:20 is fine. You know, I mean, that's semantics. We could sit here all day and argue about who showed up late for work, okay? That's not going to negate the fact that you're interrupting the show. So, good call, management. Well, we're going to call you management because we don't want to learn your name. Well, I don't care what HR says. They can go fuck themselves. See, that's the thing about working in a company with less than 12 people. It doesn't necessarily qualify as what you have to abide by. Oh, we're missing all sorts of shit and you're ruining the show. What do you want? Oh, learn how to take a compliment. Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for ruining the show and telling us what we don't care about. Fucking management. I don't know what management's like where you guys work, but around here they feel like they run the place. And believe you me, they run it bad. So, we give them ideas and they're like, no, that's illegal, or no, we don't have the budget for that, or no, that ankle monitor says you can't leave the state. You know, I mean, all sorts of crazy shit. But anyhow, yes, the doorman is here. The door channel, well, shit. You know, door channel, there's a little bit of a problem. Okay, now, we aren't gonna say that Rick has been slacking, but we actually hired a door technician. And it's really good that you're here, door channel, because maybe we need both of you. We've had issues around here for a while. We wanted to seal it shut, okay, and just, you know, kind of not let people come in. But, lo and behold, we kind of didn't know how to do that, right? So we hired Rick, the door technician, okay, and they've been hard at work trying to prevent anyone else from showing up. But, door channel, it's a good thing you're here, because Rick hasn't fixed this door that keeps fucking falling on us! Ah! Damn it! You know, Rick, the door channel's gonna try and get in on all that money we're not paying you, so that's between you guys to work out. And believe you me, hold on, we need to consult legal on this one. We, as a channel, invested in it's a little bit of a relic, but it is good technology for here. Whenever we need a branch of the channel to get back to us, we just have them call. And of course, we use our Star Trek communicator pin. Hey, have legal call the booth. Excellent. So as we were saying, there's all sorts of, things that you guys could do together to fix this place up. Hold on. Should be legal. Hey, legal. Yeah. You better make sure that we're clear of any business ongoings between Rick, the door technician, and the door channel. Because if they start fighting for a contract that in essence doesn't exist, we can't be legally liable for that, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, just say it's all entertainment. Okay, yeah, sure, sounds like good. All right. Excellent. Well, legal doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Something about this is entertainment. When does that start? We don't know. Probably never. So don't get your hopes up. But you should have your morning coffee or something. Well, sit back. Let's begin some Sunday Shenanigans. I thought that's what that was. No, that's the regular show. Now it's time for the shenanigans part. Bro, shut up. Excellent. Yes, Nightman. Thank you. Thank you for telling us to shut up. If there's one thing we gotta do, it's shut up, right? You know, Nightman. Can we call you Nightman? All right. Nightman. When you take it upon yourself, right, to interject in the chat box and stop us from reading all the ones of other chat that came in and tell us to shut up. Where were you 8 streams ago when we could have fucking stopped this before we started? Jeez, you think you're doing us a favor now telling us to shut up? A little fucking late. You joined the party late. You should have told us to shut the fuck up weeks ago. So it's on you. Huh, Nightman, if that's your real username. No, it is. Excellent. Okay, moving on. Thank you for your contribution. The door channel, do you need fixing? Well, door channel, there you go. See, here you meet contacts. Not good ones. Okay, well, not here, but amongst yourselves. See? Door channel, door technician. I don't know where you get your doors from, Rick the door technician, but I believe door channel might have some. Or if you guys are competing with each other, that might be a problem. Anyhow, let's get back to it. Somebody bit me. Well, that happens on streams here often. If we're being honest, it was probably that damn little shark fish thing that goes swimming around the chat box. Have you seen him? It's probably what bit you. We apologize. Oh, here he comes now. Yep, that's him, all right. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, don't you bite the viewers! You son of a bitch! All right, we scolded them. That should do it. If you want us to pummel them, let us know. Believe you me, that might get PETA a little upset. All right, get out of here. Stop biting the people commenting. Jeez Louise. Anyhow, where were we before we were so rudely interrupted by work? Oh, shit. I guess we were working. But that's beside the point, because I guess we should continue doing that. When do I get my song? Rick, we actually, believe it or not, we recorded your song. It is recorded now. And we have not uploaded it. Because, believe it or not, Rick, it may or may not have been recorded literally about 30 minutes ago. But if you don't believe us, Rick, you'll get the next one, okay? You're the next one. It's coming up. It's gonna jump in front of all of the other not good videos that we have, okay? You're next. And we feel a little bad, Rick. Okay, we had it. It has been listed, okay? We've had it recorded to do for a minute, okay? I don't know if you're aware of this, Rick, but we've been renovating the studio, okay? You might be saying, hurry the fuck up and get it done, right? Well, thing is, Rick, is that our door's still broken, and that's kind of your department. So, we're behind in some areas, ahead on others, and having to delay some projects while others take, precedent. Needless to say, because someone else had put in a request, we'll say, even after yours, theirs ended up going up first because we were looking to try and restart that one-day turnaround or within that, 24-hour window turnaround and stuff like that. Even though yours has now been well over 72 hours, we have it recorded. It's just not up yet because it may or may not have just been recorded because, a life. But that's beside the point, Rick. Your song is coming, believe it or not. It's not good, but you'll get it. Anyhow, song would be great. Well, Josh, it is Sunday Shenanigans. We weren't planning on playing a song, but, if you want one, you got it. Okay, now, we wrote one a long time ago, okay, and believe it or not, it was one we were gonna record for Rick, but we didn't. But because we feel so bad that Rick didn't get the 24-hour turnaround that they admittedly deserve, we want to play that version of it now. Now, Rick, you might be saying, you're just going to improv some shit. But no. Not what we do, Rick. This is well thought out in advance. Written a long time ago. Or you just, decided to do a different one for your actual song. So, all right, Josh, you ask. You want it. You got it. Now, you might be saying, you can't play a song as Shyzabox. You can't go doing all your Shyzabox stuff and being a rock star. No. You gotta be a fucking rock star to be a rock star. But I'll tell you what, means we can't do the Shyzabox show. Okay? But believe you me, what we can do, Josh, for you, is rock. This one's called Rick the Door Technician. Rick the Door Technician. It's like he's always on a mission to fix the doors and get people in and out. And sometimes the locks even work without a doubt. It's Rick the Door Technician. And he's on the door mission. Excellent. Well, fantastic. Apprentice, get in here and entertain the folks while we get back presentable. Excellent. We'll be right with you, folks. Don't worry about it. Talk amongst yourselves, just not in the chat. I think I watched a video of someone getting dressed today. No, pervert. Josh, all this wasted airspace is kind of your fault. Just saying, yes, we're kind of responsible for it, but you wanted a song, and believe you me, there's one thing that we can't do while we're doing a talk show is be a rock star too. Okay, now you might be saying, well, of course you can be. You are. But no. We're a celebrity. That's the difference. See? We'll leave the rockin' to the rock stars. Okay? We'll leave the celebrityness to us. Listen, Apprentice, get the fuck out of the way. It's our show. All right. Well, Josh, I hope you're happy. That took longer than it should have. Excellent. Song completed. Chat answered. You want to know how to fix that door? No, Rick, we don't. We honestly, Rick, if we're being honest, Rick, we can call you Rick, right? Nah, of course we do. We go way back. All right. So, our money, we could have fixed that door a long time ago. We just needed an excuse to get you to these streams. Okay? So, we're sorry that we've been acting like we don't know so much about it. It's almost like when you go on a first date with someone. Say you play putt-putt, right? They really suck. But you're really good, and you're like, fuck, this is going to take all night. So you go, hey, look, and you kick their ball closer to the hole to get the fuck out of there, right? Okay, well, however you do it, the point is that we could have fixed it a long time ago, but the thing is, Rick, that's work. And as a celebrity, that's what other people are there to do for us. Now, you have to be able to pay them to do that, and we understand that. And we can't do that. We haven't tricked YouTube into giving us fractions of cents at a time for that ad revenue yet. But, believe you me, we're hoping to. So, we get these ones of views at a time, and, eventually, YouTube's going to be like, I think this guy's on our payroll. Give him a fraction of a penny. It's like, hell yeah. We'll save that shit up, and before you know it, we'll have a whole penny. And then, Rick, before you know it, 30 years from now, we'll pay you to come fix that shit, okay? Now a lot of people might have channels that start fast, start slow. You might be saying like, well, you might want to give it up, dude. It's been almost 10 years, right? No. See, it might have almost been 10 years since we've been cranking out content, but we never invoked our dibs celebrity status until as of late, when we really felt like we were going to fall back on that minor in philosophy we obtained at that collegiate level, right? When we were told our entire lives, you need college, you need college, you need college, we're like, well, fuck, are you sure? I think my grades are contradicting that, right? Or take out the counterpart, they're definitely contradicting that. Like, oh no, you need college. Are you sure? You don't want to point me to, like, a tech school? You don't want to explain tech school concepts to me of, like, stuff we could do? Like, hey, you have one job, get good at it. We could probably do that okay. Explain this. Well, we could split hairs all day, okay, and talk about getting good at stuff, okay? But we're talking about the hypothetical here, all right? We're not talking about real life, because we didn't go to tech school. We went to a 4-year university, otherwise known as a 5.5-year university, because you change your major twice, right? More money for them. Fan-fucking-tastic. Go education system. You need college, you need college, you need college. I don't know what I want to be. I don't fucking care. Take out a student loan, get your ass in college. Okay? Well, boy, did you waste 2.5 years being a business management major, you dumb bastard. Well, fuck me. We're under the impression we needed college. Yeah, but you need to be good at microeconomics, too. And if you get a D, you gotta retake that shit. Well, fuck that! We're just not gonna manage a business! We'll just change our major. Well, there's where you fucked up. You shouldn't have taken smart people classes to begin with. Well, shit! Maybe if someone didn't tell us we had to go to college our entire fucking lives. That's beside the point. We're not saying that there's not a benefit to college and that college isn't useful or anything like that. Of course, this is shy philosophy, so it's not rooted necessarily. In fact, there's a lot of conjecture and contemplation, things that aren't fact-checkable, because not only do we not have the budget like the Bigger Joe of the Rogan shows or the Tim of the Pool shows, but it's all rooted in conjecture. Okay? It's all rooted in internet sociology, unrecorded history, right? You might be saying, well, that's a very blanketed, universal statement that can unilaterally apply to all sorts of things. Well, sounds like our bases are covered then. Excellent. People are confused. Sounds like we could charge them for a degree in it, and believe you me, while we consider philosophy a modern branch of philosophy, because we are philosophers after all, we did minor in it. You might be saying, well, you don't have a doctorate. So what? So we're 1.5 years shy and 2 iterations or 3 iterations of a degree shy of that. Was Plato a doctor? Was Aristotle a doctor? Did they pay someone to say, hey, you're a doctor of philosophy? No. It's what current modern philosophers do that are on the collegiate level. Now, we're not saying a lot of them aren't really awesome. We've met, we've learned from, and it really is a source and a grounds for the merging of minds and a platform for them to come together. The only problem is that it's kind of a degree of study, an area of study that inherently doesn't need to be taught along the side of cardiology, rehabilitation, or lawyer stuff, or dentist of dentistry stuff, or doctor of medicine, or doctor of whatever the fuck needs and warrants a collegiate education to obtain. You don't need a college degree to read. Has Good Will Hunting taught us nothing? You apparently don't even need public school to read because it doesn't fucking teach you to do it anymore. Okay, now we were substitute teachers, as we've mentioned before. We're teaching, shit, I guess we were. On the high school level, we come into the classroom halfway through the year for one fucking day, and we have juniors and seniors who don't know what a glossary or an index is in a fucking textbook. Pristine textbooks that have never seen how they even open. I don't know where all the tax of the dollars are going in the Department of the Education, but believe you me, they didn't go to us. We were making very extremely minimum wage. So, that's beside the point. Needless to say, let's catch up. Josh, I think you threw this whole episode off, and it's really your fault, dude. Oh, Rick, you broke down the whole process, huh? Hold on. We didn't know we were going to be reading a book, Rick. We need a snack for this one. Good thing we got a 2-pound bag. Hold on. A pecan. To fix a door that's completely off its hinges, remove the door to get access to the hinges. Use a screwdriver or electric drill to remove the screws that attach the loose things to the door jamb. Fascinating. That was chapter 1. Moving to chapter 2, Rick. Replace the stripped hinge screws with a longer 3-inch wood screw. Ah, Rick! Fuck yeah, dude. We're done with snack time. Rick, we're glad you said that. Good man. Do we not think outside of the box when it comes to doors? And we're being honest, Rick. Holy shit. Our mom's got a door upstairs she keeps bitching at us to fix, right? So when we come upstairs from the basement, we're like, yeah, we'll do it later. Truth is, Rick, we didn't know how to do it. So what you're saying is like, you got the hinges, when those other little tiny screws are popping out, just throw a fucking bigger one through that shit. Hell to the fuck yeah, Rick. For real, you just saved us a good bit of stuff. We're not even joking. Done and done. We're going to be able to come upstairs from the basement while our mom's home and not at her second job a lot more often because there's going to be not as much shit to do. Perfect, Rick. That's good looking out. We'll finish the thing for anyone else lacking or missing it, but we learned enough in that add a bigger screw through the other one. Believe it or not. And, you know, Rick, that's the thing about you being a door technician and us being, you know, an internet celebrity. We can guide you to, you know, being entertained in one fashion, way, shape, or form, but you can guide us to knowledge. And, believe it or not, Rick, in the ether now, someone randomly is like, oh shit, I got that problem with my door too. Turns out you just gotta run a bigger screw through that shit and it fucking fixes it. It's so, Rick, it's such a genius thing that is so pertinent to a field that's so, you know, actually elementary in education level, right? You would say, obviously, you think if some little screw is popping out, you run a bigger screw through it, and it kind of takes care of it, rectifies it, corrects the issue or the problem. Now, that's not our way of thinking, because we went to college, and they were like, give us money. So we hadn't paid anyone to tell us yet, Rick. You just divulged the secrets of your trade for free. Believe you me, that was our plan the whole time. We should probably just end the stream, and, well, no, we won't. We'll just continue this, because, you know, we did invoke the celebrity thing. You know, and once you call Daryl Dixon dibs, you can't go back on it. Now, you could kind of share half of a rat, or something like that, if you called dibs, but what we failed to do is continue the rest of that comment. Alright, so, bigger wood screws. It's best to remove the door first, so that one doesn't have to fight its weight while reattaching the hinge to the frame. Well, again, smart thinking. Work smarter, not harder. You know, Rick, that's fantastic advice. I hope that it helps someone in addition to us, and believe you me, Rick, that genuinely has helped us, because now, like I said, we're going to give it the old college try. By the old college try, it shouldn't take us 5.5 years to get this information that was sourced from an educator like yourself, Rick, in a basic online forum and community where now we inherently have gained knowledge of all places on Sunday Shenanigans with Shyzabox on how to fix a fucking door that's been a pain in our mom upstairs ass for the last 6 years, Rick. 5 years, Rick. All right, it's been like 4 or 3 years, Rick. It doesn't matter how long they've been asking us to fix the shit. We haven't researched or looked into how. Because, like I said, we thought we had to shell out money to get any form of education. You know, that's the thing about, college nowadays. It's almost like you could find a book online that has the same information. It's almost like you could find someone's webinar or seminar that they posted and not pay to attend it. The only thing that you're missing at the end of it is that piece of paper that inherently states you went here, you're worth an extra $10,000 to $30,000 a year for some reason because this piece of paper says so. Now, like we said, there are elements and aspects to the collegiate system that are very necessary, okay? There are jobs that need very, very refined supervision and training and acquisition of the inherent needs that that job entails, okay? You don't want someone who cannot find a fucking glossary and index in a textbook by 12th grade immediately getting a free ride to college, getting a fucking degree to become a heart surgeon. Probably not a good idea in the long run. Now, anyone can learn anything, and maybe early education wasn't for that individual, and they are a phenomenal heart surgeon, and for some reason, they just retain and know about and have learned all of the elements about the heart, from the ventricles to the, if that's even the word for it, we don't know, we're not a heart surgeon, to the other chambers, and, you know, what is this, Wu-Tang Clan? Yeah, 36 chambers, probably, I don't know. The point is that there is a place for those oversighted educationary tracks, okay? Those areas of study that are so refined that they need it. Very important. Ready to rock out? What snack was that? Well, those were pecans. Yeah. You know, it's a 2-pound bag, because on occasion, we get to do some reading. Believe you me, Josh, now that you made us read your comment, you kind of make us want another one. Now, we weren't going to pig out on the stream. That's for after the stream. But, believe you me, if there's one thing this company wants to not be affiliated with, it's us. We got it. Our mom got it from Sam's Club. Delicious. Excellent. Well, you know, it's Sunday. It's time for shenanigans. We've had a little bit of fun talking about real stuff like door repair. Thank you, Rick. Things that we will hold on to, harbor, and utilize moving forward. Probably sooner than not. We'll also learned that we didn't get Rick's song out in time. But what we did do is rectify that in a little bit way, shape, or form by performing a classic Rick hit that we had written a while ago. Now, it's one that we're going to retire. We won't play that one again. But, you know, we're glad that you got to hear it, Rick, even though it wasn't what we feel is our best work. And believe you me, that's why we didn't want to record it and have that one be cemented into the ether of the YouTube's platform, right? We wanted it to be so good that we still haven't written like the actual real one, but we got the other one recorded, which will be kind of a placeholder, right? You know, it doesn't matter. you know, we definitely made up for it, and the more that you think about any aspect or component of it is just, don't worry about it. So, it's Sunday, it's shenanigan day. What kind of shenanigans can we get into? Let's prank call a good streamer. Sounds like fun, right? Okay. Who should we call? I know. Let's call Stephen Colbert. Ooh. Hey, Stephen, it's totally not Shyzabox. Is your show running? Well, you better go get... Oh, you got it shit canned? Yeah. Well, you shouldn't suck. Excellent. Well, that was fun. Now, songs, prank calls. This show's got it all. Does it? Apparently. I haven't seen maracas. You haven't asked. Box checked. These shenanigans are getting out of hand. But, alas, as we venture in gander at the direction the compass needle points, it's pointing to our coffee. We should take some sips of that before it gets ice cold. You might be saying, that wasn't even a sip. But believe you me, the minute that we tasted the temperature that coffee sat at, if we did not drink the entire cup then, it would have been even worse. So, we did. Prank call Joe Rogan. Excellent. Good idea. He'll never see it coming. Okay, hold on. Now, Joe Rogan's show's a little big, so when you want us to prank call Joe Rogan, we got to go through a channel to hit that call, okay? So we're going to actually have to go through our tech department, okay? Now, these dudes are our buddies. We talk to management, we talk to legal, when we have to. Or the tech department, hang on, Josh, you're going to love this, okay? Hold on. Hey, have the tech department call the booth. God, the Star Trek communicator pin. Obsolete for many different, channels, entities, and stuff like that. Hey, is this tech department? No. I told the tech department. Well, go find them. It's probably on break. Well, the break room's out back. Well, fucking go get them. Tell them to call the booth. Anyhow, Josh, sorry, it's going to take a sec. All right, so you got old tech or whatever that ends up just being really great for smaller channels and entities. There it is. Hey, we're going to need you to do us a favor. Josh wants us to prank call Joe Rogan, but we need the back channels to hit that number. So can you patch it through? Uh-huh. All right. Okay, 2 seconds. All right, he's going to call us back, and he's going to patch us through, and then we can prank call Joe Rogan. Now, the thing about it is that, we don't want to ruin our chances of him ever inviting us on his show. So he can't know it's us at all costs. Okay? All right. There they are now. All right. Okay, yeah. Okay, make the call. Make the call. Put him through. All right, Josh, he's putting him through. Hello, is this Joe Rogan? I'm a really big fan. Invite me to your show. My name's Shyzabox. Please invite me to your show. Oh, we got him. Good, Josh. Anyhow, oh, man, who else can we prank call? Let's see. Now, no other suggestions, but surely they're out there. But, hello? What? Hello? No way. There's no way a celebrity's stopping by this stream. Oh, hi. Yes. Hello. No. Hello. Hi, it's me, Ellen DeGeneres. Oh, hey, Ellen. Thanks for stopping by the stream. Oh, you're welcome. I was just sitting around and I was like, oh, I wanted to partake in some Sunday Shenanigans. Well, Ellen, that's fantastic. We're so glad you stopped by. We're a huge fan. Oh, I know you are. That's why I stopped by to say, stay the hell out of my garbage cans when I put them down at the trash. Well, see you later. Oh, all right, see you later, Ellen. Oh, Ellen's great, man. We've done songs. We've told what we thought were jokes. We've had celebrity guests make appearances. We've interacted with ones of chats. I mean, if you're looking for any type of additional shenanigans, I don't know what else there could be, but surely you can think of something, put it in the chat. Just be careful that that giant fish thing that came and was biting people in the chat doesn't bite your fingertips. Believe you me, it comes out of nowhere and starts biting the chat. And it'll take your nibble fingers off. Ask Bob. Thanks for helping, Bob. High five. Excellent. The point is that, it's Sunday. It's shenanigans, and someone should have some shenanigans for us to partake in. So that was good, Josh, on the Joe Rogan. Maybe we'll get on his show after all. Ellen? Well, Ellen stops by all the time. You might see ones of our 4,000 videos that we actually happen to have on the channel. Oh, fuck no. Fair enough. She stops by on occasion. Now, you might be saying that's not really Ellen. But, I mean, the box said it was reversies, but it said. So, we can argue all day. But if you're not here to say anything verbally and we have to read your comments, we don't see them. Looks like we were correct. Excellent. So, it is Sunday. It is shenanigans. We've been hanging out for a minute. We finished our coffee. We're on to some additional go juice. And by go juice, we mean a pure water that's probably been diluted and tampered with by all sorts of government agencies that act in our best interest. Thank you for the fluoride. If we need it, I don't know, you tell us. We're not telling you you need it. We just wait on the government to tell us what we need. And believe you me, they're usually sometimes almost right. But that's why we put them in office, so that they can do whatever they want and not act in our best interests. I mean, say they're going to act in our best interests. So it works out. They get money, they go on vacations, bada boom, bada bing, we get fucked. Perfect. That's how we like it. Works how we don't like it. I don't know, we forget. Anyhow, it's Sunday, it's shenanigans. We have not talked about this week in the news. Oh, you might be saying, oh, that was a blessing. I was hoping you weren't going to. But, nope. Looks like it's a segment. So, this week in the news. Has anyone heard of a band called Coldplay? Well, if you have, they suck. They have one good song. They suck. But apparently people still like to go see them. Because they think that they're good. Now, you might be saying, whatever, Coldplay's way better than anything I've seen here. It's like, well, fair enough. But, are they really? I mean, yeah, totally. Okay, fair enough. Everyone has their own preference on what talent is. And believe you me, when you put Coldplay next to us, yes, they look far more talented. But, that's beside the point. Because apparently people think that it's a good little go-away to get to, and believe you me, there is a little company called, some started with an A, Aerospace, Aeronautical Engineering, I don't know, Atmos there, whatever. Dude was boinking his HR leader or something, I don't know, someone we worked with, not nice, not good, You should never have bought tickets to Coldplay. It's horrible. And believe you me, we got the best advice that we ever did back when we were a manager at Blockbuster. You might be saying, what? You were a manager at Blockbuster? Well, of course. How do you think it set us up for the success that we reap today? As being a professional internet celebrity. Not a good one, but one nonetheless, because Daryl Dixon dibs. But our boss told us one day, and you might be saying, what? I thought you were the manager. Well, yes. We were just a manager. We're talking about the general manager. Okay. Now, the general manager, and we were manager, and then CSRs, consumer service representatives. Needless to say, as we were sitting up on the upper echelons of the management team, all 3 or 4 of us store employed management with the store manager. It wasn't an official meeting. It actually just dead time. No one was renting any movies. Probably right before the collapse. Doesn't matter. They were like, you know, if you're going to be with someone, be with them. If not, don't. You know, don't go through the extra not good stuff, right? Oh, why make it not good? And if there's one thing that we've learned over the years, it's that you should make things as least not good as possible. Usually makes things the least not good in general going forward from that point, and whatever decision you make. Now, you live your own life. You want to waste money on a Coldplay concert, whatever. You want to hurt your loved ones and those around you, and, you know, go through whatever, that's your choice, okay? You made the decision to not do A and only do B, and, you know, came out to bite you at a little thing called C, or Coldplay concert. But, whatever, that was this week in the news. We don't even think it's that newsworthy. Because anyone who was even there reporting on the Coldplay concert for any iota of a reason, probably not a form of medium that we would care to follow on a regular basis. But needless to say, the memes, nonstop. The comments and the headlines, nonstop. And we're not saying that, you know, inherently the memes weren't funny, that they weren't inherently good or worth watching or seeing, but a little unnecessary, you know, and that's the thing about the inter of the nets. It takes its own form. Okay? If this is something it wants to run with, it's going to run with it. Believe it or not. Happens all the time. You might have heard of a lady called Hak Tua, right? You might be saying, what? Hak Tua? What are you talking about? Oh, well, this was like 4 internet cycles ago, okay? Before us being mad and apparently drawing genitalia in Elon Musk's Teslas, right? Because that'll show you, Elon, I'm going to draw a male extremity in your car. Take that, Elon. And Bob's like, what the fuck's this? A male member doing on my car? It's like, well, you might not have heard, Bob, but apparently Tesla's like dick now. So, there you go. High five, Bob. Enjoy your artwork. I don't want to drive with this on my car. Well, fair enough. You know, it's just what the internet does. Okay? It goes crazy. Takes off with whatever it wants to. And in this case, apparently it took off with some Coldplay concert action. Okay? We're not saying that the parties involved didn't get their just due. Believe you me, their just due's probably just starting. But what's unfortunate that we see, that we take away from the event, are the parties of those that are involved with not wanting to even be involved. As we see the elder kids' faces in those photos of, you know, those family pictures that people are making fun of, poking light of, and, you know, this, that, the other. Like, yes, there was a massive infidelity that occurred, presumably. There was massive, you know, underhandedness, not niceties, assuredly, you know, blatant lies after lies, you know, accumulating to everything. And you might be saying, you know, God smited their relationship with its just due. He painted it in the biggest light possible. The old kiss cam, right? Only problem was, it wasn't at a sporting arena where you would expect something like that. And they're like, nah, baby, I ain't taking you to no hockey game, no basketball or football game. They're gonna make us kiss. And believe you me, there's one thing we can't do in public, it's that. Because we're being naughty. We're not abiding by little things called vows that we have taken. Okay? Now, everyone makes their own decision. It's our job to make your decisions for you. It's not anyone else's jobs to make those people's decisions for them. But, like we said, when we see the individuals that are indirectly involved, when we see those kids' faces, and we've only seen the family portrait once or twice, I mean, we can kind of still picture it, and man, those kids have no business having that that issue in their personal lives projected, man, like that into the stratosphere and the realm of where the internet has gone with it. Now, like we said, the internet's its own thing, and it's going to make light, it's going to poke fun at, it's going to do whatever it needs to do. But, man, if there's one thing that we thought that schools passed a rule on, it's bullying. You might be saying, well, that's not really bullying, you're just, posting the obvious, pointing out that some massively employed CEO of some entity, X, Y, or Z, had an infidelity relationship with another employee there, X, Y, or Z, okay? The company has had to deal with it, and statements have been released from parties involved on it and such like that. It became such a talking news point cycle that people fail to realize that those who hurt most are anyone who went to that Coldplay concert, okay? Indirectly, they're involved because now the concert got interrupted for them to see two people who couldn't keep it in their pants and or clothing. Depending on what they wear. I don't know, we just want to be generic enough to cover all bases. The point is that, the internet took off, the internet ran with it, parties were, depicted in it that should have never been depicted or brought to light. It's always hard to not be like, well, let's see those who were affected by, the misgivings of this individual not honoring their vows with this other individual. Let's see the offspring of their said vows before it all came crashing down in complete, just utter, throw it all awayness, okay? But we see those kids' faces in those family pictures, and we think to ourselves, we kind of wish we didn't see that picture. We kind of wish that this story wasn't reported on to the degree that it was. Elements of it could be portrayed. Aspects of it could be poked fun of. Hell, the internet could have had its way with the entire source material, still elicited the function that it needs to provide in bringing light to all sorts of things, and it could have ridiculed the hell out of the initial picture, as it did. The dude with his arms around her, okay? What went the step further was the, hey, here's the other parties involved. Hey, here they are again. Hey, let's record on this aspect of them. Let's report this. Let's write articles about this, that, the other. Let's incorporate these pictures again. We're not talking about the memes now. We're talking about news streams picking it up. Because meme culture from the inter of the net zones indirectly affected mainstream action stuff, okay, and brought it to the level that it did. That it presumably still is. There's probably still one or two memes coming out, a couple articles, and believe you me, that meme is now infamous enough to gain notoriety and go further and forward into the future as the Coldplay couple, right? You might be saying, damn, that unfortunately immortalizes Coldplay more than like the Rock Hall of Fame would. They probably already inducted those dudes to it. And we're not saying that they're not talented or musicians or anything like that. We know they're way better than us, sure. But, are they? It's Coldplay. We're just kidding, Coldplay. You guys are great. You guys presumably know how to make music. We don't listen to it, but that's what you call it. And that's what other people say it is. So, who are we to judge them, except for going to your concerts and listening to your music? But that's beside the point, Coldplay. We can call you Coldplay, right? Nah, of course we can. So, C-Play. The thing is that you got your names in the headline. Only by your names, you just are now affiliated with infidelity. So, if you have a spouse or significant other that likes Coldplay, you better check who their HR or CEO is at the company they work for. Just saying. Now, Coldplay, we're not saying that you're directly responsible for any infidelity that ensues between two parties that have nothing to do with your band, your music, your artistry, your creativity, your musical prowess. But they're at your show, so you obviously tricked them into liking your music. So whose fault is it? You can be saying, well, it's those people for making their own decision. And I guess you're right. You're right. Coldplay, it's not your fault. Go on with your music. Anyhow, we've talked a few things now. Coldplay is peasants compared to us. Well, Josh, of course they are. And the thing about it is that I think that they kind of knew that, and that it's starting to kind of make its way out there where people are watching some of these other streamers and content creators, and they're like, man, you know, Shyzabox isn't good, but, you know, what the fuck am I watching, right? And that's fine. You can start having doubts about some of the other content that you view. There have been creators out there that aren't us for a long time. You might be saying, well, fucking not anymore. Screw those guys. And that's what you should be saying. But we don't make you say that because you need to decide for yourselves. If you want to go to a Coldplay concert, pull up one of our longer streams, hit mute, and go to it, okay? When you get back, if it's still running, which I doubt, because believe you me, Coldplay's going to force themselves to play an encore, even though no one asks for it. Or not, I don't know. We haven't gone to their concert. We're just guessing. But we're guessing that they're like, let's play another one, guys. And everyone's like, no, we want to go home. They're like, security, block the doors. Our fans can't leave. We're playing an encore. And all the fans are like, no, we want to get out. Call Rick the door technician. Call the toy channel, no! Right? And Coldplay's on stage. No! Look, there's a couple who's still watching us now! It looks like they be fucking! Right? I don't remember how they announced it, but that sounded almost like what it should have been. Apparently Coldplay is too sucky to come up with a good way to say something like that. But what they aren't sucky enough to do is paint a light on a relationship that hurt a lot of other people. Might be saying, again, that's not their fault. These people hurt themselves and those around them. And again, you're entirely right. But, of course, because we stated it, it's technically our view, so we're right. Excellent. Glad we're right on this one. So, we've talked news. We've talked only one article of news. What else has happened in the news? We're guessing that there's been all sorts of stuff that's been newsworthy that news has probably even reported on. But believe you me, if there's one thing that eludes us right now, it's any of those stories. Because they were probably all dumb. And a lot of those places make you want to not have ad blockers on their websites. And they say, you can't view this unless you accept our ads. And which to that we say, no! We only read shit for free. We already paid for college, you motherfuckers. So, whilst it's not nice of us to say that, we know, you know, they're not doing enough article-wise to make us want to give them money or let us watch the ads that people give them money for the articles they write. So, that's beside the point. The point is that, you know, like we said, we're a little lacking in the additional news departments right now, reflective in the week. Because it looks like that Coldplay thing was the main story, the main memes that came out, the main iota and point of focus. With that being the case, looks like we're done talking about the news that happened this last week, and for Sunday Shenanigans, let's talk about music. Excellent! You might be saying, no, please don't, end the show. But no, we gotta talk music. Midnight Matinee. You might be saying, who are those guys? Well, if you're asking that, you obviously haven't listened to them and don't know who they are. So you should go listen to them, get to know those guys, because they are awesome. They're a laid-back melodic rock group that plays some harmonious. And by harmonious, I don't mean harmonica, I mean harmonious, and we misspoke. They play some harmonious music and tunes that flow together and synergize so extremely well, they lead us wanting more and more of it. The technical prowess of the band, you might be saying, you're not talking about Coldplay anymore. No, fuck no. No, we moved on. We're talking about a band called Midnight Matinee, who's inherently totally not fucking Coldplay, okay? And, believe you me, even if Coldplay put on their sexiest outfits, they probably still wouldn't. Anyhow, Midnight Matinee, what these dudes have, is some new tunes that are coming out, and believe it or not, we believe there's a new entire release that may have come out today. Now, we haven't verified or confirmed this, If we had a big-time show like the Joe of the Rogan or the Tim of the Pool, we might tell our fact of the checker to fucking find that shit the fuck out. But since we don't, we can only conjecture and presume that the notification that we saw indicated as much. So, with that being indicated as much, what we are certain of and what we can report, breaking news, is that Midnight Matinee definitely has an entire musical release that's going to be coming out. Might be an EP, might be an LP, might be a PP. If they do, I hope they flush it and then put their music out. Because if there's one thing fans don't want to buy, it's their urine yet. Maybe when they get really, really up there as far as notoriety, like Coldplay could probably sell glasses of their urine. Okay, but inherently, you gotta be a certain type of fan to want that. And believe you me, most Coldplay fans probably are, so, you know, hell, there's probably a whole market already exists in that. But that's their fandom's business. We're not a part of it, so we don't know. We don't want to, you know, conjecture stuff that's not true, though. So, disclaimer, that might not be the case. Not all Coldplay fans necessarily like to buy cups of pee-pee, but don't they? You know? I mean, have they purchased any of Coldplay's albums? That's not a cup. That's a whole pitcher. Okay, fair enough. We'll say the cups are the songs, and the pitcher is the album. Either way, you're in luck, because that shit's full. That's mean. Okay, sorry about that, Coldplay fans. And you too, Coldplay. Anyhow, let's continue talking about good music. By good music, that's subjective as well. You might hate Midnight Matinee and be like, those dudes suck. We don't want to watch or listen to any of those. Ah, Danny, welcome, welcome. You know, we've been hanging out waiting for you to get here. We're almost thinking of leaving, but we knew that you'd be here eventually because if there's one thing that you still got to do, it's clean up your damn mess. And Danny, believe you me, it's still there. Rick was here earlier, probably might even still be. You guys have made this place all messy. But yes, good to see you. We're talking music currently in the Sunday Shenanigans. Everything you missed, you'll have to put on later, mute, and go to work or go do something more productive. That way, the stream can catch up with all of the view we didn't get from you being here. So, that's on you. That's your homework. That's all of your homework. You know, who are we to assign homework? Not really anyone except a celebrity. So, you should want to appease us. Excellent, Danny. Good to see you. And by you, your words and your presence. Because believe you me, we feel it. And we know that it's there. Because the ones of viewers has jumped up ones of viewers. We're like, oh shit, Danny's here. Excellent. All right. So, we're talking music. We're talking Midnight Matinee. Moldy by now. It's absolutely moldy by now. That cake has long since molded. In fact, Danny, we're going to have to fix that. In fact, there's a lot of stuff around here we still got to fix. We're kind of putting it off. It's going to mold for a while. Maybe it can decay and take care of itself and we won't have to touch it. But there's one thing that we know, Danny. D-Money. Dylan Drexel. We can call you Dylan Drexel, right? Well, of course, it's your username. You know that. When you picked it, you were like, fucking no one can pronounce this. But we can. So Dylan Drexel. We know we're going to have to touch that cake. We know we're going to have to clean it up. But that's the price we pay for being such excellent hosts that we are. You know, when we knew that you had held your real birthday party, didn't invite us to it, for obvious reasons, we knew that you wanted to hone in on Lily's birthday that one day. You were like, fuck you, Lily, you ain't coming back here. I can see a fake-ass bee when I see one, right? You're right, Dana Drexel Black. See, Lily hasn't come back since. And if they have, just kidding, Lily. We knew you'd come back. Excellent. Never heard of that band. Well, Josh, Midnight Matinee is a little bit of a very underground project currently. Though, you can find them. They got songs and tunes. Man, they reside mostly, we believe, in the Southeast. I'm not sure what their inherent tour schedule is. However, one of the affiliate members is a member of a band that we extremely much like and love, called the Brown Goose. Now, the brown gooses have long loved putting restraining orders against us ever since they found out it was us breaking into their houses when they were on tour, rifling through their underwear drawers. But, believe you me, because there was no photographic or video evidence, that's all contemplatable and water under the bridge. Don't worry about any of that. Nothing is an admission of guilt. What they did do was like, hey, maybe if we get a restraining order against this dude every time we go on tour, our underwear drawers will be uncompromised. Okay, now, you might be saying, sounds like Joey was in the neighborhood, right? Blah! If Joey was in the neighborhood, you best be getting the hell out of it. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. But, believe you me, doesn't matter. Point is that one of the members, Midnight Matinee, member of the Brown Goose, an extremely good band. Again, they got, some new iotas and iterations of tunes out as well. They just got actually a radio edit that we believe has been playing around regionally the Southeast. Now, the Brown Goose, they'll tour a good bit. We were out, trekking around, gallivanting here and there, and we caught them and learned about them and everything like that down in Georgia somewhere, right? I mean, they're all over the place. But what inherently they have is obviously that kind of rock sound, man, that, yes, a lot of other bands might have in a one way, shape, or form or anything like that. But the technical prowess that Midnight Matinee has, the way that, man, and we believe that actually the individual as well records them and does all of that. They got, good little studio setup, everything like that, man. I mean, it's really a lot of aspects of things that have lined up for all of this shit to start happening for these dudes, right? You got the Brown Goose, man, they're doing extremely well. Awesome band if you ever get to check them out as they grow. Now, obviously, if you're a big hardcore gangster rap fan, hi, Mom, then they're not for you. But if, you have a wide array of music, if you're listening to everything from, putting your head up Nirvana's albums to sticking your head in Selena Gomez's box, you might be saying like, oh, we've seen you do that, don't do it again. Believe you me, we can't right now, but we would if the opportunity had presented itself. But no matter what you listen to, if you are open-minded to tunes, if you do find new stuff fun, great, innovative, creative, hell, it could be entirely genre-specific to what you do not like or care for, in which case, whoops, sorry. But our musical categories, our musical discographies that we have followed ranges from everything that you would find in classical old school stuff to, rap and rock to hip hop to Insane Clown Posse, Selena Gomez to, of course, Taylor of the Swifts in there. We got a lot of music, a lot of tunes. Some of it we listen to more than others. Some of it we might not like. But if there's one thing we respect, it's endeavors and artists' created works. Okay, mostly. What was all that Coldplay talk? Well, Coldplay doesn't count. Obviously. What kind of argument are you trying to make? We're talking about musicians and artists here. We joke. We kid. Obviously, Coldplay's a musician and an artist. Okay? Obviously. But stuff's lining up, man, for these entities and stuff to where when Brown Goose isn't in the studio getting their radio edits and stuff made and, on the road touring, the dude's hard at work, growing the studio, working on these other endeavors and projects and stuff like the Midnight Matinee, all right? And we got, believe it or not, in those, I think 4,000 videos on the channel, a couple of them are about Midnight Matinee. You can even go to the channel, sorry, and click on videos, stay away from live, stay away from shorts. If you go to playlists and go to music, does it suck? Inevitably, inherently, sorry, you'll find a Midnight Matinee somewhere in there. So, is it alphabetical? No. Is it in there? Probably it should be. And it probably is. So, That's what that is. But yeah, Midnight Matinee. New tunes coming out. We believe a new release has come out today. We have unconfirmed, but we have confirmed that new tunes are coming out because we saw their little release. And if we're being honest, if we're talking about music and little kind of, promos that are talking about releases, let's pivot and go from talking about who we love, Midnight Matinee, right? And the Brown Gooses and all that, to another band that we inherently really love. A band that we followed and inherently, in one way, shape, or form, grew up with. Okay? A band that we have met on a couple occasions. We've seen perform on a variety of occasions. A little band called Cottonmouth Kings. Okay? Now, Cottonmouth Kings is not the entity that it is today that it was once days ago. Okay? It's no longer the original members. Okay? There was a big, massive legal hoopla boopla that escalated and permeated from Suburban Noise Records to the Cottonmouth Kings band to members of it to dynamics that inevitably were almost a arguable cause of the initial downfall of the group itself from, kind of deteriorating from its high horse that it was on. No, not the horse we rode in on, which was awesome. We know. It began the kind of, tear down of that band. So when Cottonmouth Kings kicked out Pakalika, didn't want to pay him anymore, when the funds were drying up in one way, shape, or form, when no one was focusing on the business aspects that people like Brad, Daddy of the X, was undertaking and doing, and you have other components and aspects of what Richter was doing with Suburban Noise and such, and that's where you have, some legal entailments and divides. Then at the same time, you have D-Lo's namesake resonating with the Cottonmouth Kings itself, inherently with name, logo, affiliation, and stuff. So you have three buddies, a band, a group that began making decisions without the band, the buddies, the group, that pissed off members of the band, the buddy, the group, got them to jump into all sorts of legal entailments, fuck up the fans watching them like, what the hell's going on? Everyone with Suburban Noise Records tattoos are like, whoops. And then people with KMK tattoos, shh, we got one. They're like, no, we still like the band, who cares, right? We got all sorts of shit. Doesn't matter. Point is that we're talking music now, and we need to talk the promos. Midnight Matinee released a promo for the album that they have coming out. We don't remember if it's an EP or LP. Well, you love them so much, why don't you know? Because we don't. We want it to be a surprise. And we don't know. We want it to be a surprise. But mainly we don't know. They released a promo, highlighting 5 to 8 second portions of a variety or the majority and or all of the tracks that are coming out, Not only did they release that, but they made it flashy, they made it catchy, they played the parts that mattered, They really made it into a promo, a hype for the music Midnight Matinee has coming out. Now, we're talking Cottonmouth Kings. We're talking the band, kind of degradation from being at the up of the up and on the peak of the peak as far as their stuff that they were, putting out, doing, performing, everything like that. All right? They started to just fall apart. Now you have D-Lo, still arguably very good. We're glad that they're sticking with it and re-putting shit together. We wish Richter and everyone else get on board. We wish Dirtball rejoin up. We loves the Dirtball. The Dirtball, believe it or not, we've probably talked to and met. He might not remember us. He might be like, you vaguely might be remember. But shit, we first met Dirtball down in Georgia. We talked to him in places like South Carolina or North Carolina, something like that. We've been around and stuff. We've seen, iterations and entities of KMK play other shows. Or, where we haven't had the chance to talk to him. Or, even before Dirtball was in the band and stuff like that. Shit, when he was touring with them and whatnot, you had people like Big B and Dirtball. There was a difference between when Big B was on stage and people kind of lobbing shit and throwing shit like, you're not so good. Right? Nina's okay. And then Dirtball gets up there and it's like, oh shit, Dirtball's pretty good. Anyhow, so when we bought Dirtball's CD and we're talking to him because, he wasn't the artist that you wanted to throw shit at. We didn't throw shit at Big B, that's me. People throw shit at us all the time. Like, clean it up. You better knock out your community service faster. All right, whatever. Okay, Mom. As they drive by on their way to their second job. You're a fuck up. Oh, love you too, Mom. Whatever. The point is that Midnight Matinee put out a flashy promo. Okay? They're a band that, Josh, admittedly, you hadn't heard about. Didn't know of their existence. Probably didn't know of affiliations or ties to Brown Goose if you had heard to them. Who are just coming into their a mainstream light. And they should have been in it for a good while because dudes are talented, dudes are good, and dudes put in work. But you have the band, okay, very successful. In the off time, dude just continually putting in work. Making more, creating. Midnight Matinee puts out a promo, flashy as all get out, and it's surrounding and pertaining a love of their craft, a desire of getting their name out there, a want to have their music heard. And then you see the promo that Cottonmouth Kings put out, admittedly, under different formats, under different members in the group, under different sounds. And man, if we're being honest, D-Loke, can we call you D-Loke? Of course we can, because we've fucking met you a couple times. You probably don't remember, but we've talked to you and Richter both a couple fucking times. Okay, you might be saying we talk to millions of people all over the place. You're dumb. Well, sure. We get it. Sure. You don't have to remember us. A lot of celebrities that we met don't remember us, but we've met a lot of celebrities. You might be saying, name them. Well, no. Because there's not a lot. So when we say we met a lot of celebrities, we met a couple. And it's arguable what celebrity might mean in that, term. But the point is that D-Loke, your promo sucked for your song coming out. Now, you guys have been on a trajectory that we like as a fan. We dig. Okay, when you started dropping singles, what was it, like Knock Knock? And you put out like another one, the Lion something, the something Lion Roar, I don't know. The lion with the lion on it, right? The direction that the band was going seemingly looks very good, very structured, and very pleasing to fans that have been around since Bump, since Royal Highness, okay? Which we have been. We're rocking out to the punk rock, street skating, rip hop that you guys have been cranking out for decades. And if there's one thing that we don't like, aside from the way that you guys had a falling out, some of the business decisions that may or may not have been made and or overlooked, but if there's one component that we don't like that you have dropped, it's that most recent promo. Because inherently, it was devised to attempt to elicit a, funniness, and some people thought it was. Maybe it was, and we just don't know what comedy is anymore. Unlikely, but maybe. But if there's one thing that wasn't funny, it was that promo. What it was sad. It was a promo that we didn't want to be like, hey, not only, hey, everybody, Cottonmouth Kings has a new album coming out. Check out this promo. If we sent that to someone, we'd get our ass kicked. God, our mom hates when we send her links, especially bad ones. Cross-check, bitch, in the kitchen. We grew up a rough life. Our mom was a roller derby player. That's beside the point. Oh, makes sense. You must have got slammed hard in the head. I don't know. Don't remember. Whoa, our mom might not have even played roller derby. Who cares? Entertainment. No, it's not. Whatever. Cottonmouth King has dropped a shitty promo. D-Loc, that recent promo sucked. Do it again. Do it better. Go watch Midnight Matinee's promo, one that we would send to people and be like, hey, Josh, Midnight Matinee, a band you've never heard of, has some shit coming out. Watch this short. It's 30 seconds long. If it piques your interest, look into the band. Okay? What we're not going to do, Josh, is send you some shitty-ass skit that Cottonmouth King shit out in the manner of time that we make videos. Okay? Unacceptable. It's got to have that flash. It has to have that gumption. It has to have that pizzazz, D-Loc. And whether it was under a certain feeling, mood, or, opportunity that presented itself, putting out a promotional video pertaining to a band that has, yes, an iconic past history to it, so iconic that it should be cinematically documented as well as, textbookily written about the history of the Cottonmouth Kings, the authorized of the unauthorized biographies. The stories are there, the entertainment's there, okay? The things that they had done for different aspects of, argumentably, parts of society and culture that were at odds and ends, generationally gap-wise. Cottonmouth Kings held a place in history that was virtually unmatched genre-wide. You have Cypress Hill that has done the same. You have Willie Nelson in a different genre that has done the same. You have Cheech and Chong playing some badass songs in their movies that have done the same. You have your Bob Marleys and the Wailers. You got your 311s, your The Pacifier. You got your, it's P-A-S-S-A-F-I-R-E. Pacifier. Great band, Josh. Listen to those dudes. They're phenomenal. Might not be your cup of tea, and if so, skip out on it. Like we said, we have a really big swath of everything that we listen to, okay? Wide array. Ever stretchy. Right? Once we're into, these genres that we're talking about, and you talk about the Bob Marley and the Wailers, go from there. Well, then you know what we like to do? We like to venture over to a little thing called Sublime. Not anymore. Sublime with Rome. Have you listened to Sublime with Rome, Josh? Now, a lot of people have heard Sublime. Turns out, dudes still were, around. Unfortunately, after Bradley Noel, unfortunate departure from this 3D realm, right? This 50-50 simulation theoried universe that we reside in, okay? With the Enter of the Nets that you partake in the viewing of. Yeah, I misclicked, sorry. Yeah, fair enough. However you got here, however you watched it. Sublime with Rome is still around. It's Sublime without Bradley Noel, with Rome, who's really good. And they deserve a chance to be listened to, too. The continuation of bands can happen. Sublime with Rome. Metallica was in a bus wreck. One of their, members died. And they were like, fuck it, let's get paid. Let's get a new one. And they did. Right? Now, obviously, not like that, but we have seen interviews long ago with members of Metallica, and, we're not going to point them, so, if you want to say this is rooted in conjecture and our false recollections, perhaps. Okay, we're not saying these are factual representations of what we saw. There are remembrances of it from times past. But we do recall and recollect watching interviews with members of Metallica that post 5-10 years down the road, after the tour bus crash, after the member of their band died, these dudes, one of them at least, stated in an interview, the minute that it happened, we were there on, the side of the road, whatever, we saw, dude was dead or heard he was dead. I was like, oh, man, it's all over. It's all come down to a crushing end, right? And while those sentiments had been probably thought about for years on end, and it's not fair for us to judge his heartbreak and heart loss in an interview that took place years later down the road from a catastrophic event that took the life of a member of the, band that millions and millions and millions have fallen in love with worldwide. But when we heard that statement, and we were thinking to ourselves that it, for them, seemed to be more about the financial ride and not about the camaraderie and brotherhood that would be built, okay, amongst the individuals, then it made us take a second look at it. It made us begin to think, we don't really like how he's portraying himself in this interview. We might be misrepresenting his thoughts, his feelings, his beliefs, his opinions. We could be entirely off of the rocker in how we process his response to a question in an interview that took place years after the fact. We know that. But something about the way he said it, about the way he remembered it, about the way he recollected it, resonated with us enough to realize that, inevitably, it didn't seem like it was about the loss of a life, the loss of a person. It was the loss of his financial means, of fame, notoriety, existence. We don't know. It's all conjecture. It's all how we remember an interview. It's all everything like that. But for us, when we see bands that go and continue on, and Metallica, believe you me, continued on. You don't go back and watch those interviews. You don't think about their bus crash. For some folks who are maybe modern, current Metallica fans, they might be like, what? They were in a wreck and one of their members died? Right? At least we're pretty sure. We don't got fact checkers here. Boy, would we feel really bad if we're thinking of the wrong band. But we're pretty sure we're not. We could be, though, disclaimer. Well, we might not be. The point is that how they conveyed themselves or portrayed themselves on film to us, in an interview, to us years after the fact, didn't resonate. You know what else didn't resonate with a band continuing its namesake, continuing its longevity? Here's the full circle, Josh. Holy shit, took a minute, right? Content. The Cottonmouth Kings. D-Loc, the promo you dropped is not good. We love Cottonmouth Kings. We love the direction that the band's going, regrouping, recollecting, re-sticking with it. We'll listen to the tunes. The album comes out. We'll see you at one of your shows again. We'll talk to you before or after it if you want to hang out. Of course, you'll be riding the coattails of our celebrity success at that point, because the band isn't what it was, right? Not the same members. That's where you need folks like us with Shyzabox to fix it. You need us to once again talk to Richter, talk to maybe Brad, give him a little pat on his hiney, say, Brad, good hustle, but let's show the KMK some more love muscle, okay? Let's get back in there and give it the old college try. Let's be friends again, right? Because you guys have toured. You should have created and devised something rooted in a brotherhood somewhere, right? But no, whatever. It's your guys' business. You don't want us to fix the problem, that's fine. Stop asking us. You might be saying, we didn't, they didn't. But there's something that we are. It's problem solvers. It might not be the right way to solve it, but we put an answer down. And it might be wrong. It might not be relevant, but it's an answer. There you go. Let's see what we're missing. Cottonmouth Kings are awesome. Absolutely. Remember, they start with K-O-T-T-O-N-M-O-U-T-H. K-I-N-G. So yes. But we know that was probably the not FBI switching your word to Cottonmouth, the actual snake, with the C spelling. But we don't want to point that out. It would just, it'd be a different band altogether. And there's one thing that their tattoo on us means, is that they can't change their name to start with a C now, or else it would look even dumber than it probably does to a lot of people. But we like it, so that's what matters. You telling me some bands I've never heard of. I'm definitely going to check them out. Well, excellent. Fantastic. You might be saying, boy, do I regret doing that later. But, sure. You just got to keep in mind, I might be sending you on a path of a lot of genres, okay, that are a little different from each other, okay? So, when we talk a little more slow-moving, slow-rolling rock with some melodious vocals and some very technical prowess on the musical side, Midnight Matinee. Okay, fantastic. You want something a little more rocking, okay, a little more still on the kind of rock, easier going side, but enough punch to make it hit in the areas you want it to. That's the Brown Goose. If you're going directions of you want something a little even faster, another band that's coming out, Josh, that you might not have heard of, we'll talk about these guys on occasion as well, Neutral Snap. We think they're from Louisiana. We could be wrong. We're probably not, but we could be. From Louisiana, Neutral Snap. Now, these guys are rock stars. Don't get us wrong. Brown Goose is rock stars. Midnight Matinee, rock stars. But Neutral Snap, rock stars, right? We saw Neutral Snap first. We've never seen them. Shit, we heard of Neutral Snap first because the Brown Goose was touring with them. If there's one thing we like to do, it's keep up with the Brown Goose. Because we like those guys. We love their music. They will even go to the lengths of showing up without their drummer to play acoustic sets places that need an acoustic set. It's like, hey, a couple of the geese will fly over here and knock this shit out real quick. And they play music, and it's good. And people like it. Except for those that don't. Whatever. But yeah, hey, that's great if you go check these bands out, Josh, because there's some phenomenal acts. But, we were talking Cottonmouth Kings. You said that you like those guys. Well, that's an entirely different genre. We don't want to, have you expecting Midnight Matinee to sound like Cottonmouth Kings, because believe you me, there's a couple genre jumps that you got to do to get there. It's called flipping through our CD book, right? Some crazy stuff in there. If you want something instrumental, melodic, that is the most sing-songy, beautifully music that you're probably going to not like, Starflyer 59. A band that, resides on the more underground known circuit, but Starflyer 59, they have a reason we like them in our discography. It's for those moods that we hit once every 5 years, right? But they have a place for us to listen to them. And they are very melodic, very musically kind of oriented, things like that. But it's great. You want something a little more rocky that, musically oriented and stuff like that. I mean, you can go any direction, but look at bands like Dispatch. Josh, you ever heard Dispatch? Dispatch. They're one of those kind of collegey, hippy-dippy bands. Dudes are good. Man, they've got some fantastic stuff. But you're like, no, all this shit sucks. I want something rockin'. I want something with some oomph. Well, how much oomph do you want? You want melodic oomph? You want to go like Tiger Army? You ever listen to those guys, Josh? Tiger Army's fantastic. We love those guys. I don't think they really play no more, but they're great. You can go directions of modern great punk goodness, like that one band that sings Fuck McDonald's and set up an entire concert in a McDonald's to play Fuck McDonald's. Oh man, jeez, we're kicking ourselves. We suck, we know. The fuck is the name of that band? We got a video on them and everything, maybe even 2. It eludes us right now. That's because our celebrityness is so ever vast and expansive that it takes us a couple years of knowing a band before we commit them to memory. But we do know the song's called Fuck McDonald's. Josh, open up a separate tab, search Fuck McDonald's song concert, something like that, and they'll pop up. I think they got like a green and black kind of color scheme to them. Almost like us because we're so fucking awesome, obviously. That, you know, that's where it is. Fantastic stuff. But the point is that, yeah, we could talk bands and groups all day. You want some awesome old school bands, Josh? You go with bands like the Pixies. You listen to those guys before, Josh? Those guys are fantastic. Grew up on the Pixies. You want something more modern, almost in that genre and wheelhouse, but not at all? Go with Silver Sun Pickups. Man, you look at any of their albums like Swoon and Before, or whatever, and there is some masterfully crafted and created artistry that the Silver Sun Pickups have. Some phenomenal. Lazy Eye? Start with that song. If you don't like Lazy Eye by Silver Sun Pickups, Josh, you're probably not going to like the band. Don't listen to them again. Fuck it. Who cares? You know, there's so much music out there. We could, and we love talking music for days. We don't know everything about it. There's always stuff coming out, but we know our niche picks and genres. We got stories of musicians that we've met, shows that we've hosted. You might not know this, Josh, but we used to actually call smaller but record labels and ask them to send bands to shows. Okay? We got to, you know, play with some phenomenal acts in a variety of bands that we were in. We got to meet some phenomenal acts in a variety of bands that we let crash on our floor. We got to tour with bands like Not Galley West, who not around anymore, but they're in that video game Wet. I think they were sponsored by, I don't know, maybe one of those soda companies up in the Northeast, like not Jones Soda, maybe Jones Soda, I don't know. They had a thing to them. They were on some compilations, Gunslingin' Santa. That's a real easy song of theirs to find, but Not Galley West, phenomenal rockabilly-like group, man. And then you branch off and look at other endeavors that members of that group have done. You know, Hank Hall. Hank Hall has a bunch of music. You're getting in the folk kind of country genre. And then you look at when Hank Hall goes around with Matty the Kid touring, and you got elements of like, you know, like a aspect of music that just inherently is not presented to folks nowadays. Not nearly in the realm that it should be. And it's definitely not gotten about and around as a lot of bands and acts justly deserve their due time in the spotlight for being great musical acts. Excellent. Auto-corrected me. We knew it did, Josh. We knew that you knew how to spell Cottonmouth Kings properly, and it was just the not FBI changing your shit around. Yep, good old autocorrect. Never heard most of them. Ever heard of Electric Six? Now, something about Electric Six sounds vaguely familiar, but we're going to be honest, probably not. Because the first things that we're thinking Electric Frankenstein, we're thinking Rob Zombie, we're thinking White Zombie, Astro Creep 2000. For some reason, maybe more of like a track title with the Electric. Probably that's, in fact, I think they do have a Electric something part 1, Electric something part 2, and that's probably what we're thinking. So we probably have not heard of Electric Six, but you know what? If there's something we're going to do, we're going to do it, Josh, just for you. What the fuck? How do you spell that shit? Just Electric Six. Easy enough. All right. Well, make a note of it, Josh. Electric Six. Because Josh says. All right, excellent. Now, we didn't put it forward for you, but it's right here so we can read it, Josh. Electric Six, because Josh says. It doesn't say because we didn't write that word. But we'll remember that, and if we don't remember it, when we go to finish working on the studio, we'll see it. So, you know, we kind of already did our turnaround for a couple requests already, but technically you just were seeing if we had heard of it. But because we haven't, sounds like something new we could check out, Josh, and we appreciate that. You know, music is so massive, so out there, and Josh, you know what? You just gave us more content. believe it or not, after we listen to Electric Six, we're going to review that shit. No, please don't. I like those guys. Well, Josh, we're not saying we don't like them. Oh, no, please don't. Too late, Josh. We're going to. Not only are we going to listen to them, we're going to review them. And if we don't like them, we're not going to say it's because they suck. We'll state the reasoning why. If we do like them, we'll state the reasoning why. But inherently, we won't not like something even if we don't like it, as long as we recognize talent, skill, artistry, or any aspect of that. Because our musical catalog is so diverse, everything from TLC to Insane Clown Posse. Those are 2 3-letter name bands, you son of a bitch. Think of something better. Okay, fine. Everything from Aerosmith that we have and don't listen to on a regular fucking basis to ZZ Top, which I don't even know if we have any of their stuff, but we definitely don't listen to that on a regular basis. Well, you're supposed to be naming bands you do listen to. Well, it doesn't matter. We're not going to now. Who cares? There's so many bands out there, so many musical acts that we are now stoked, Josh, to kick it and listen to some Electric Six. Not even joking. Thanks for the reference, and we hope that it is one of our newfound favorites, as many bands are slowly becoming as we begin knowing about them. You know, Josh, in our day, back in the day, old people days, we can call you Josh, right? Of course we can. All right, so J-Money. Back in our college days, right? You might say, shit, that was a long time ago, right? Yeah, it was, Josh. Yeah, a couple decades, decade and a half, something like that. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You had bands like Alkaline Trio. You had bands like Rufio. You had bands like, Saves the Day. You had bands like Taking Back Sunday, Coheed and Cambria. You had bands like, we had mentioned them, Tiger Army, stuff like that. Okay? You have other elements and aspects of bands like Necromantics, Necrogoblicon, the other, Groovy Ghoulies, I don't know, I mean, all sorts of bands, you start breaking it up by, really, in essence, what label bands were on. You go to Epitaph Records, you're hitting, mostly Rancid, stuff like that, some occasional Offspring, sorry. And, the other bands they were putting out, you have Mr. T Experience, you got stuff on Lookout Records that, permeates Asian Man Records, one of our favorite, the Broadway's Mike Park's solo acts and endeavors he has taken on. Asian Man Records, if you haven't listened to Skankin' Pickle, the Broadway's MU330, Mike Park himself, God, and a variety of other acts and such that, surely will remember, momentarily, and surely, we won't remember, they elude us, and then when we come across their CD or pull it up ourselves, we'll be like, oh yeah, this band, that band, the other. Fantastic acts, a lot of them, maybe not around anymore, but the thing about music is, you can listen to it even if they're not. There are classics like, I don't know, Beethoven, Mozart, believe it or not, Josh, people still listen to. So, a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, you break stuff down by record label, and there's a whole plethora of stuff. And depending on what genre you want, you find a record label. Say you're into your, Roadrunner records, and you like your Sepultura, and your Metal Blade records, and you like your, more Metal Blade stuff, okay? Say you like Victory Records for some reason, and they didn't fuck over Streetlight Manifesto, which, let's be honest, should have probably never been on Victory Records to begin with. Streetlight Manifesto is phenomenal, Josh. Fuck all those other bands, just kidding, we love all those other bands, but Streetlight Manifesto, fantastic. One of the most sad stories in music history that can be told. If you've heard of them, obviously, don't stop us here, because we're going to tell the story anyway. Content. Streetlight Manifesto did something called Signed with a Band signer called Victory Records, right? Well, they didn't like each other too much after that, and Victory's like, we want you to, buy shit and stuff, and, and put out records with us, and Streetlight Manifesto's like, no, we kind of don't want to. And Victory's like, well, you're going to? And they're like, well, No, we're not. Victory's like, yes, you are. And Streetlight Manifesto's like, we'll see. So as they trickled out content, as they met their obligations, one of the primed, greatest bands falls short of everything that they could have delivered their fans, society, the music genre as a whole, because of some legal entailments and battles and problems with the entity that had signed them to get their name and music out. You know, there's one thing that we always say here, Josh, and you know this is probably why you might even still show up. This show will never be behind a paywall, ever. It might improve in some aspects. One day we might even get a working microphone. Until then, the audio sucks, and we know it. The thing is that it all falls into that steady as she goes, right? Steady as she goes is the music. Steady as she goes is the world. Steady as she goes is this comment section moving along ones at a time, and we're missing them all. Da-da-da-da-da. Electric Six, great dance music. Josh, are you assuming we dance? There's one thing we don't do. It's dance. We rock out, which I guess is dancing. So, all right, fair enough, Josh. We'll see how much dancing we do with Electric Six. Now, we're not going to critique it extra hard because it comes from you, Josh. But if there's one thing we're going to do, it's critique it extra hard. Because it comes from you, Josh. We're giving you one reference for us. And, believe you me, that's because you just haven't given us another one. But that doesn't matter. Let's catch up on the rest of these. Necrogoblicon is a great band. Yes, they are. Absolutely glad that you know the realm and wheelhouse as well. A phenomenal act. Okay? There are so many awesome bands out there. Get into the more hardcore. Circle Takes Square. Bishop's Green. Really good acts. Really good bands. You can get into some of that screamo stuff, man. Thursday. You know, and you might say, Thursday's not really screamo. They're more emo. Whatever. You know, you got bands out there, man, that encapsulate some of these genres perfectly. Find those record labels that have those acts, those types of acts that you like, and go to town. You know, fuck the radio. All that shit sucks. Except for that new stuff they're playing, like The Brown Goose, or Neutral Snap, or Midnight Matinee, or any of those current modern bands around. Or if you don't have a CD player in your car and you gotta listen to it. Whatever. Okay, don't fuck the radio. Fuck all the commercials. They all suck. A lot of bands, too. Anyhow, Roadrunner Records did a thing where they mixed up different people from different bands, and they did some really good music. Trivium's singer and Slayer's drummer and Slipknot's guitarist. No shit, Josh! Well, Josh, welcome to the party. You know, Josh, we didn't know that. That sounds fucking epic. The last thing that we are aware of that was a monumental kind of undertaking by a lot of artists and the, you know, endeavor that it entailed for them to come together to produce stuff is when a little individual from a band called Snot, Lynn Strait, died. Okay, now you might be saying, Snot, who are they? If you have not heard Snot, S-N-O-T, you need to listen to them. Okay? They're a little different rock and roll, hardcore rock, right? They were phenomenal. But you had a lot of bands, okay, like Soulfly, entities like the affiliates around Sepultura, you know, the Cavalera brothers, obviously, you know, who Max ended up going to sing for Soulfly, right? You have elements of all these bands coming together to produce and put out that album Straight Up. Now, it's a compilation of bands paying homage, paying tribute, showing love, appreciation for the musical artist that was Lynn Strait. Yeah, the album's Straight Up, and it's a compilation. Blue cover, white words, tracks from bands, all in that genre, okay? The Soulfly put out a album, or like a double disc album. They had the little brother come up and sing songs. Hey, who was like Dana Wells, something like that? I don't know, man. We the names they elude us. They as years go on, but they had the little brother come in and sing. Shit was fucking rad. Shit was epic. Shit touched your heartstrings. They don't make them like that anymore, Josh. Tell you what. Hope we dance our ass off with Electric Six. We need some good news in this motherfucker, right? But we are stoked to hear that on that Roadrunner Records thing. We're going to look into that. We haven't really acquired or followed or picked up anything Roadrunner-wise in quite some time. And we're going to be honest with you, it's not because we don't like it. It's because we just haven't like followed up or looked on it. No bands have come around conveniently in an area that we could go jump in front of the concert, not necessarily be on the ticket or the tour, and open for them, right? You might not know this, Josh, but we opened for Black Flag and the Queers. You might be saying, like, what? No fucking way. Way, Josh, way! We believe it was in December of 2024. We took a few good hours drive to go open up for a little band called Black Flag. Ever heard of them? We opened for them. Show! Doesn't matter what show. It was one in, I think, North Carolina. Around Jacksonville, but not Florida. A different one that wants to be Jacksonville, too. There's 2 Jacksonvilles, probably more. I think there's a Jackson, Mississippi. It doesn't matter which one. The point is that we opened for Black Flag and the Queers. You might be saying, oh, on a technicality? Because you were unsanctioned, not inside the club, not on the ticket? Still counts. And Josh, you know, we opened for him. There's videographic proof. You gotta go to our channel, sorry, to see it. But we believe if you go to the short section, oh, sorry, man, that shit's all sorts of fucked up. Yeah, you can go somewhere, man. Yep. Rock opens for Black Flag and the Queers, something like that. Doesn't matter. You won't enjoy it. But point is that we did it. So fantastic. Oh, we'll find it on YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. We'll find all that stuff on YouTube. If not, believe you me, Josh, we're from the time of LimeWire and GreenWire and Greenlight Wire and, you know, Napster and all that. You know, you're welcome for not being allowed to conveniently find a variety of music and media entertainment. That's our generation, Josh. You're welcome. But if you go to Necrogoblicon, we're thinking you're probably right on our coattails. And not just because we're a celebrity, Josh, but because you seem to know of quite a few of the acts that, timeline-wise, seem to line up with someone who knows their shit. We're not saying we know our shit, Josh. We just know that some of the bands that we're talking about have been around for quite some time, and they do have some sort of notoriety to them as far as their greatness and epic prowess. So it's fantastic when you go mentioning, you know, agreement with how we already know that the bands are great. That's fascinating, Josh. We have our ways of acquiring, our means to view media, stuff like that. And they're all legal, 100%, believe you me. Fuck off, feds. No case here. But yes, we'll definitely look into all that from Roadrunner, because that just sounds phenomenally amazing and awesome. So, have you ever heard, Josh, of a band called Adam and His Package? ATOM and His Package, okay? This band is amazing. You might be saying, fuck, it's not. Yes, it is. Adam and His Package has a new member every song that they do, okay? Intentionally, on purpose, they take musicians from places and make them be musicians for Adam and His Package. And there is some very good stuff there. Some stuff you might not like, some stuff we don't like, some stuff we skip over. But Adam and His Package, some hilarious shit, some funny stuff on occasion, some uplifting music when you need it to be. There's a lot of stuff there. You might be saying, like, no, when I need upliftingness, I go and listen to Squirt Gun, right? We love Squirt Gun, right? Nothing that we love more than, you know, kicking back and enjoying our fun in the sun with things like Squirt Gun and Buck-O-Nine, stuff like that, right? But, man, Adam and His Package, they find their way on rotation here and there. Probably needs to be more so, but we forget about them. But just the fact their rotating door that Rick hasn't fixed on musicians coming in and out of that band. Insane. Fantastic stuff. Blowing your mind. Never heard of any of these bands. Well, that's unfortunate, Josh. They've been around for years and years, decades and decades. But that's not your fault, really, Josh. It's because we didn't invoke our celebrity status until as of late. And you might be saying, that's unfortunate for society, and it is, in some regards. But it really is beneficial for a bigger, greater portion of society that might miss out on where we go from here, okay? That's intentional, Josh. There's some people the show's not meant for. And it's anyone who won't give us views. So, fuck them. Anyhow, where were we? Ah, yes, music and music. Yep. Roadrunner United. All right, fair enough, Josh. We'll probably remember that one. Yeah, all right, we'll add it. We'll add it, because no, you won't. No, you fucking won't. You better write that shit under electric fucking 6. You ain't gonna fucking remember shit, you bastard. What? Roadrunner United. Roadrunner United. Well, fantastic, Josh. Looks like you just accounted for 2 more created videos. You can apologize to the public in the chat now. We'll relay it to them. Speaking of which, it's about this point in the stream that we like to take the time to apologize for last stream. So, sorry about that. Excellent. So, moving forward, yeah, no, we love talking music, Josh. There's all sorts of good stuff. Yeah, Roadrunner United sounds like you've just created 2 videos, Josh. Fantastic. We won't call it a sponsorship because that entails different legal parameters, okay, as far as declaration for YouTube video posting purposes, but we are super stoked to check out some new tunes, and if it revolves around great members of bands such as the aforementioned, you know, Slipknot, Slayer, all that. Speaking of which, let's tell you a story about Slayer. This bitch in 9th grade has our Slayer CD, and they didn't return it to us. Not only did we not get it back, they still have it. You might be saying, what? How the fuck long ago was that? We'll tell you how long ago. We were in the 9th grade, and they got our Slayer CD because we lent it to them out of the goodness of our heart. Never got it back. You know, Josh, we missed out on a lot of defining Slayer listening years. That's why we had to focus in on TLC and Whitney Houston. We didn't have a Slayer CD to listen to. You might be saying, what about Suicide Machines and all your Rancid albums and, you know, NoFX and Guttermouth and, you know, all those other bands and Dead Kennedys and, you know, all those other bands, Dead Milkmen. Well, yeah, all those bands were great and we listened to them too, but if there's one thing that we needed to do, it was put in shitty music too. What band were we talking about? I don't know, we fucking forgot already. We did mention, though, some greats. Guttermouth, fantastic. We love Guttermouth. They're a little more niche in the punk rock, you know, thing, but so are bands like Sloppy Seconds, okay? Sloppy Seconds is phenomenal. They were on Nitro Records. They have approximately only 3 releases to their name. One of them's like a little EP. But fantastic, you know, group. They have one of their albums is like a cover album with like I Don't Want to Grow Up from like Peter Pan on there and shit like that. Fantastic listen. If you want stuff in their genre but a little older, a little more graduated, maybe a little more notorious depending on where you live regionally in the world, you look at bands like Peter and the Test Tube Babies. Holy shit, Peter and the Test Tube Babies are really, really good, Josh. We saw them and caught them on their Final Nail tour. I think they were either playing with, like, the Queers and Vanilla Muffin, or, which, Vanilla Muffin's another story. Maybe they were playing with Mr. T Experience and Vanilla Muffin. It doesn't matter. The point is that we think it was the Queers and Vanilla Muffin. Point being, Mr. T Experience could have been there too. We don't know. It doesn't matter. The little band called those guys, we inherently figured that we would get a chance to talk to him and meet him. So Peter and the Test Tube Babies, the show ends. We're like, well, hell, let's try and meet these dudes. And obviously this was before our celebrity status, but the bouncers, the band, they recognize the celebrity status that exists and that we are. Okay? So I think we were in Germany at the time, right? And God, I don't know where. Maybe somewhere in Germany. And Peter and the Test Tube Babies, they're playing as a final nail tour. Show was over. We were like, well, hell, let's get these dudes to, recognize our celebrity greatness and sign our CD for us, right? So we're like, let's go ahead and meet these dudes. So I went to the bouncer and said, move, bitch, get out of the way. Got some celebrity shit to contend with. He's like, okay, hold on. Let me go see if I can move out of the way for you. And he did. He went and checked with the appropriate personnel. And, of course, got permission for us, too. And we went back there and kicked it with those dudes, right? And they're like, oh, you're an American? Cool, I guess. Right? And they didn't really say that. They were kind of doing their own thing, mainly. But we talked to them for a good bit. And then, believe it or not, Josh, and, this is conjecture. We might be misremembering this for legal purposes, but we are almost certain they offered us drugs, Josh. Naughty punk rock bands, right? But we could be misremembering, and maybe they weren't drugs. They were super fun fillers, okay? And we're just misremembering. But, see, we were like, no, that's probably not a good idea right now. So, we were like, no thank you. And the point is that regardless of any of that, they're an awesome band. You might be saying, well, that story really had no point to it. It doesn't have to, Josh. Content. Okay? 4 more minutes are gone. And that's 4 more few minutes towards the fucking 4 damn million that we need before YouTube will fucking pay us. So the thing is, Josh, we got to pad shit out in all sorts of ways. Good looking out on the Electric Six and the Roadrunner United. That's 2 more fucking videos we're going to make. Apologize to the rest of the internet, like we said, because we are going to make them. But content, right? Fantastic. I would have done the drugs. Well, no, you wouldn't have, because they weren't drugs. They were super good fillers, right? They didn't have drugs because those weren't allowed, and they were probably illegal. That's why. The way we remember it, Josh, is debatable. You might be saying, you're misremembering on purpose. And, Josh, we could sit here all day and talk about who misremembers them saying, want some of these fucking drugs, or here's some feel-good stuff, have it or don't. The point is that the guys were genuine, they were nice, and they were sharers. They weren't going to bogart anything and be like, we don't want to share with our fans. Because we were. We were there, and they're like, and we know you're a future celebrity, Shyzabox. We know you're going to need a story one day to tell about an old punk rock band that toured their asses off for decades and decades, that were on the underground circuit of Europe and England and all that for years and years and years, that a lot of people don't know about. That maybe a lot of bands, fans, and things of that nature potentially pay homage to or reference in a lot of music. Banned from the pubs. Some of their stronger single songs that have been out. These dudes have a wide array and vast amount of albums that they cranked out. You might be saying, yeah, but a lot of the albums, ironically, have a song or two that are on every single fucking album. It's really weird. That's just how they kind of worked. They're like, fuck it. Let's record this album again. Or, we'll make a new album, but we're going to put 2 or 3 of the same songs on it. Here we go. And they do it and they put it out, and that's what you get. And as a fan, you're like, cool. A couple of the songs are new, and I already know the words to these ones. So it's like, you dance along, you sing along. Point is, Josh, is that Peter and the Test Tube Babies, phenomenal guys. They share, and they care. And we're really glad that we got to catch them on their final nail tour, okay? They're iconic greats that a lot of people don't know how iconic or great they were. But believe you me, their discography is expansive. There's a lot of it. A lot of the songs are the same songs, so, you can listen to like one album and cover most of it, but there's some good stuff there. Look at albums, I think it's like Alien Pubduction. That's one of our favorites, Josh. But it's not necessarily their strongest. It's kind of in their latter part of their, career and stuff like that. But we like it, Josh. One of our favorites. Beside the point. There's so many stories, so many bands, so many acts that are doing stuff right. Whether you're looking at bands that are coming up, like the Brown Goose that got their radio edit and they're on the radio now and doing their thing and touring constantly, and even down to the point of playing solo acoustic shows just to continually play music, which is great. To your bands like Neutral Snap and Midnight Matinee dropping new albums and records coming out, hitting promos. Neutral Snap's dropped promos too. Fantastic dudes, fantastic band. Not for everyone. They're not going to hold your hand. If you're trying to come over from hardcore death, black metal, huge, massive fans, I get them. It's not musically geared toward that. But if you like rock and roll and rock stars, it's geared directly towards that. The entities are out there. The acts are created. They're improved. They're just constantly giving more and more to the community. And music industry is so diverse, so broad. On Sunday Shenanigans, where we've talked everything from music to songs to, well, I guess those are kind of the same damn thing. What else we talk about today, Josh? Seems like we've been here for a couple hours almost, and we don't have a lot to show for it, minus our empty cup of coffee that we caught a fly in, believe it or not. There's a fucking fly in here. We're going to let him go outside, and by outside, let him go. We haven't decided what his fate is yet. He pissed us off by even being here. So, we don't know, but we don't want PETA to get involved. So right now, your fly is safe, PETA. We'll probably just go upstairs from our mom's basement. How the fuck he got here anyway is beyond us. And we'll let him go outside nice and easy so that he can go fuck up someone else's day, right? You might be saying, no, kill that motherfucker, right? That could get us in some trouble with entities that are all about, things that aren't not allowed to be talked about or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is, Josh, yeah, I guess we're kind of done for today. So, you want to get out of here before us, now's a great chance. We're going to check out Electric Six first, Roadrunner United later in second. Not for any reason other than we want to, but we'll see what time permits. Okay, so we're going to check that stuff out. Everyone else get out of here before us. We're going to be shutting it down. We're going to turn out the lights, and if there's one thing we don't want to do is turn the lights off, and then you're bumping into all our shit, knocking down our awesome signs and stuff like that. Apprentice, get in here. Show everyone the awesome sign again. Yes! Look how awesome it is. It's not even backwards like the other one anymore. You might be saying, like, this show sucks, but that doesn't matter. Get out of here, Apprentice, our show. You're making it suck. But like we said, we're going to be shutting it down, so get out of here now. Leave before us. We're turning off the light. Don't bump into our shit. And if we're being honest, that's not really the real reason. It's because we know all you kleptomaniacs going to try and grab our gear on the way out. Like, oh, fucking maraca. Oh, a real maraca. Oh, it's mine now, motherfucker. And then we go to do our poetry night. We're like, this next one's performed on maracas. We're like, where do we put those? Apprentice, get in here. Where are the maracas? Excellent. See, they're here. He knows where they are. Get out of here, Apprentice. We're fucking trying to get out of here. Jeez Louise. Point is that we know you klepto's gonna try and steal our shit, so we're gonna be locking up. Ain't no one coming in this basement till our mom does our laundry later. Believe you me, that's not gonna happen till she gets off her second job. Hi, Mom. Anyhow, oh yeah, that's the end of the show. So get out of here. We hope you had some great Sunday shenanigans. If you didn't, that's on you. They're only as great as you make them. You should have clicked off a long time ago. Then you could have done something better with your time. Or something better with your time. Again, on you. So, we see that where you've been standing's really starting to mush down the grass and getting it all discolored and stuff like that. And it's really starting to irk us. So we don't need your subscription. We want your money. Download the shit out of this and give us a buck. Get off our lawn.